recording. All right, welcome to week 7, Thursday exercise class. This is our second to last exercise class. And so we're going to go over floor work, and we're going to go over a question about hamstrings. Law, can you be more specific about what is your question about hamstrings?
So my question is, I never feel like I'm doing it right when I'm supposed to be, like a friend of mine just had knee replacement and she says, "Oh yeah, they're telling me in physical therapy I got to work on a hamstring." And I tried doing some of the things she showed me, and I must not be doing it right because I never feel like I get that pull behind the knee, in there.
Okay, okay. I Let me see. Do you stretch your hamstrings in sitting, standing, laying down?
I I've tried doing it in the pool, which is standing, and I put it up on like the step and try to do that. But one of the things my friend suggested was 2 chairs, and then you like push down on the knee in the middle. I don't know if that's something that I should be doing or not. Like she sits on one chair and puts her foot on the other, and then pushes
On the knee?
on the knee. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I'm gonna try to keep it in. A lot of times when I teach about hamstrings, it's a very surprisingly um not difficult topic to teach, but it takes a while and it might take some reinforcement. So actually this will be good. We'll do like an initial training session today. Y'all can play with it and
Okay.
then come back Monday and Thursday next week and see if any strategies work for you, because the the main take home point is that you can stretch them in sitting, standing, laying down. You can stretch it with a foot on the step. In the pool, stretching is difficult.
Oh,
Stretching, let me say this, stretching muscles effectively in the pool is differently. So with
okay.
stretching, there's a difference between stretching muscles and stretching joints. So you can be stretching the knee joint. Pardon me 1 second. There is a glare coming in off the car outside that's suddenly blinding me. So I'm going to go shut the blind real quick. Okay. So let's take after a knee replacement, for example, since that's coming up soon. When you're stretching a joint, you're stretching the joint capsule. You're stretching the bones and the joint capsule. So let me the anatomy. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. You guys see these anatomy pictures?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's pick a good one. They're all good. This is a pretty good one. So what I'm looking at is like there's muscles, you can see the bones, there's ligaments. This is a pretty good one. The tan is bones, the white is ligaments. But what I'm really looking to show you guys, this is a pretty good one because it's a little more simplified. Again, tan is bones, pink is muscle, white is ligaments, this white is cartilage, this white is meniscus. What I'm looking for is the joint capsule. So it starts to get very white when we talk about the joint capsule. So this is a pretty good one where it's showing a lot of white. Knee anatomy. So Basically, the joint capsule is like, I think of it as like all this white material, this ligament. You could think of it as fascia. You might have heard as fascia is like in pictures it looks thin and white, but it's very thick and difficult to stretch. So a lot of times when you're stretching, you are stretching globally all of the tissues that are in that joint. You're also moving around what's called synovial fluid. So contained within the joint capsule is synovial fluid, which lubricates the joints and keeps them moving properly. You're going to be stretching a little bit of muscle, but really, if I were to sit and just prop my knee, I have two chairs here. If I sit back and stretch my knee like this, I'm really just stretching the joint. I'm not stretching hamstrings very effectively at all. There are extreme cases, like I have a woman who's in her upper 80s. She's very immobile. She sits and lays in bed most of the time, has advanced dementia. She has started getting contractures and stuff like that. For her to put her leg up, because her leg like doesn't go straight beyond that, that's an extreme case. She's probably getting a hamstring stretch. So if your hamstrings are so tight, for some people, this can be a stretch. For most people, it's not. For most of you in this class, it's not. Now, to stretch muscles, let's go to a picture of a muscle. And just real quick before I move on, this same principle applies to every joint in the body. So we'll use the knee and the hamstring as an example, and then we'll kind of talk about how that might apply to other joints and muscles in the body. Hamstring anatomy. So this is a good picture. So the back of the thigh is the hamstring. This is a good picture. It's not showing you, most of our hamstrings are a little more meaty than this, but they're trying to show the attachment points. So your hamstrings are on the back of your thigh. All muscles have tendons at the end of them, which attaches muscle to bone. So ligaments generally attach bone to bone. Tendons attach muscle to bone. Doesn't really matter. You don't need to know that. You just need to know it attaches to the bone. So the hamstring goes right up onto your sits bone, which is what you kind of hear it called sometimes. It's technically called your ischial tuberosity if you're looking to learn some medical jargon. It does also attach onto the back of your femur at places, and then it goes down below your femur to the tibia and fibula. So it attaches at just above the hip and just below the knee, and the action is to bend your knee. So in order to stretch a muscle, we need to elongate it. So when we contract a muscle, it gets shorter. So if you imagine these fibers getting closer together, you can see how it's going to bend this bottom portion. Oops. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It gets shorter.
Yes.
Yep. It's going to pull that part up. It's getting shorter. Then to stretch it, we need to elongate the fibers and put them farther away from each other. So we essentially need to put these attachments farther away from each other. So we can do that by straightening the knee. It crosses two joints. It crosses the knee and the hip. So you are either going to have to move the knee or the hip to stretch the hamstring, which
Mm.
brings up a really good point, which is a lot of people talk about stretching their hamstrings and bending their ankle. Either flex your foot or point it. That doesn't matter because your foot and ankle are so far down from your hamstrings. What people do, a lot of people say, oh, flex your foot back and you'll feel it more. And you're actually putting the nerve on more tension.
Mm.
So you're not necessarily effectively stretching the muscle. In my opinion, for my body, that hurts more. So I actually like to stretch my hamstrings with a relaxed ankle. Um, so
I've used the plank in the morning sometimes, like you showed us with the counter and, and,
uh-huh.
and and then bend in, and I can feel it stretch the back of my hamstrings before
And
I get going.
yeah, yeah. So when you wake up in the morning, you're going to be stiff. And yeah, just other simple movements that might not be like a hamstring stretch per se. You might feel a stretch. I like to, in the morning when you're first waking up, I recommend very gentle stretching, very, your body's cold. So you want to warm the tissue a little bit before you're just like, bam, let's stretch. So in the morning, if I'm stretching, I like to do repeated times of stretching, maybe slowly, very gently, like zero pain whatsoever. If I'm stretching after a workout when I'm hot and sweaty, my muscles are very warm, then I feel a little safer to go into what I would call slight discomfort. You never ever want to have pain when stretching. That's actually the body's signal that you're about to hurt yourself. So we want to listen to the body, you know, in certain camps, and especially back in the day, there was a lot more aggressive stretching. And I personally experienced a couple overstretching injuries from yoga. So I listen very closely to my body now with stretching. So, pop quiz. In order to stretch the hamstrings, we need to manipulate which one of two joints. Which two joints would we need to manipulate?
The knee or the joint or the hip.
Yep. So, good job. With the hip, you can see here that the hip is connected to the pelvis. So, have you guys ever learned pelvic tilting?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Pelvic tilting is what I always start hamstring training with so that we can get the same terminology dialed in, because that is going to be this key usually to switching that stretch on and off. Pelvic tilting stretching, if you guys want to start, I always start in sitting. So I'm going to go sideways so you can see a more drastic movement. This is pelvic tilting forward, and this is pelvic tilting back. So all I'm doing is rocking over the sit bones. I'm rocking forward onto them. I'm rocking back. Some people will put your hands here. I will sometimes teach to think of the top of your pelvis like a ring and like a circle, and you're going to try to tip the bucket forward and tip the bucket back. Other language I'll use is try to bring your belly button forward down, and then try to bring your belly button closer to your sternum or your bra line. So whatever terminology works for you, do you guys feel confident with this maneuver?
I do.
I do.
Okay. So if I say a forward tilt, it means this way, to where there's kind of an arch in your low back. If I say a backward tilt, it's like tuck your tail between your legs. Okay. Now we can move to pelvic tilting standing up. which people just tend to struggle with a little bit more because it's a very subtle movement. When you're sitting, you're moving several inches forward and back. When you're standing, it's like, feels like a centimeter sometimes. So same thing. Tilt forward, tuck your tail and tilt back. Tilt forward, tilt back. When you're tilting forward, ideally you want to try to isolate your upper body and your lower body and just move the pelvis. A lot of people will get into like leaning forward and leaning back and leaning forward. That's a lot more movement than just isolating pelvic movement. For tilting forward, I think about sticking my booty out, sticking my chest out. And then with the backward tilt, I think about squeezing my butt cheeks and bringing my pubic bone up to my belly button. So I'll just say that one more time. Forward, chest out, butt out. And then backward tilt, squeeze your butt cheeks like you gotta hold in a fart or something. And then bring your pubic bone up to your belly button.
Wow.
Does that,
It's
what's that?
different. I was taught physical therapy pelvic tilts laying down, so this is all different. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do, that's our next position. Does everyone feel good standing up and doing them?
Yeah, I gotta practice that.
Yeah.
Standing one.
It's really helpful to do it in the mirror and to do it,
Oh,
you can do it front on in the mirror and sideways. The mirror is really good tool. And then some people have a little better luck with their hands.
okay.
Okay. So now if we connect this to the picture before we go on to laying down, in this picture, you guys can, have you guys been able to see me?
Yes.
Okay, I forgot I was sharing my screen. So this picture here, we're looking at the back of the sacrum and the hips and the back of your leg, the hamstring. So with a forward tilt, this piece here, the sit bone with this tendon is going to rise up away. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're tilting forward, you're bringing that tendon and that sit bone higher. If you tuck your tail, tuck your butt, tilt back, it's going to bring the sit bone down closer and shorten that muscle. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bonnie?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now I just think it's helpful to get that visual. All right. Now from a laying down position, we can also do pelvic tilts. So
Yeah.
was this the position?
Yes.
Yep. So with a forward tilt, you will basically create some space between the floor and your low back and kind of arch forward. So you can see it's the same laying down, sitting, standing. It's always a little bit of a low arch in your low back. And then tilting back is the same. You're flattening your low back to the ground. It helps me a lot and my patients a lot to actively squeeze your butt cheeks. You just get a little, you don't have to. You can use more of your abs, your lower abdominals to, again, you're bringing that pubic bone closer to your belly button. But sometimes when I tell people to squeeze their butt cheeks, they just feel it a little more.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, you can get to the point where you can rock your pelvis independently of any other body part without the butt squeeze, but it really doesn't matter. It's more about what you feel and are you connected enough to your body that you're feeling that pelvic movement. So that is the foundation for hamstring stretching because when I used to teach hamstring stretching without starting there, people had no idea what I meant when I said tilt your pelvis. So um, I'm gonna do several different positions of hamstring stretching, and you guys can just shout out questions if you have them, and then this week you can play with them. Okay? Yeah, Aunt Law.
Amber, can I take a 5-second walk away before you start? I just need to
Yes.
get something. Thank you.
That's perfect because I'm gonna go grab my stretching strap.
Okay. Sorry about that. I had groceries delivered. It was supposed to be here at 10:30 and they just showed up. Okay.
Any questions? Questions before I get started on demonstrating something?
No, I'm ready.
Okay.
Can I just, I was trying to write down some of this, on the hamstring when standing, lead forward with your chest out and your butt down, back, right?
Yep, chest out, butt out.
And then sitting, you lean forward like you're emptying your belly button, right?
Yeah, yep.
Then lean back and lift the belly button up.
Yeah, it's like your belly button kind of draws back to your spine, or you can think of it as bringing your pubic bone up to your belly button and shortening that space.
Isn't it the same if you're sitting or standing or not really?
Yeah,
It is. Okay, good.
yeah. Same exact. Everyone has their different keywords.
Yes.
So that's why I say a few things, and whatever clicks with you is kind of the cue that you can use. All right, so these are the stretching straps I like the most. One is, this is probably the one I would recommend. The one that, so it has different loops. So it's good because you can hold on to it easier. You can stretch your shoulders behind you. You can just kind of loop your thumb in there and then raise it up. You can stretch your shoulders overhead, and then you can stretch your legs. So I like this one But another perfectly good option is just a classic yoga strap. It's just a belt. So you can also use a belt. The thing is, belts tend to be just a little too short. They're not quite long enough for your arms, and then you're like leaning up trying to hold on to them. So one example, one option for stretching your hamstrings is laying down. You would find the center point, put it on your foot. Can y'all see me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Just hold on and then try to relax your entire body as much as possible and stretch up. So stretching, generally, we want, the gold standard says 3 sets of 30 seconds. I'm telling you, that's really hard to do on both sides for everything that you want to stretch. I tend to do stretches 1 or 2 times for at least 30 seconds up to 60. So you do need to hit 30 seconds for there to actually be any tissue elongation of the muscle. If you stretch longer, if you stretch more frequently, you are going to elongate the muscles faster. To an extent, just make sure that it's always pain-free. I would recommend stretching probably, I do a little tiny bit of stretching before movement sometimes as I'm warming up, but it's very gentle. It's more so just joint mobility. And then I stretch my muscles at the end of a workout. And then sometimes in the morning I wake up and a certain body part is bothering me. I might stretch out my back or my hamstrings or something that's calling my attention. So another thing to keep in mind is we said that we can stretch our hamstring by manipulating our knee or our hip, or we could manipulate both. So before I go any further, the number one thing for stretching that I always tell people, if you forget everything that I said today, if you know where you want to stretch, then just move your body until you feel a stretch in that body part. So if you know that you want to stretch in the back of your thigh, then just tweak your body this way and that way until you feel a stretch in the back of your thigh. So do I feel it if I bend my knee? Well, I don't really feel anything there. Do I feel, oh, I'm starting to feel something. Okay, I think I got it. I'm going to just hold there. So that's another perfectly good way to stretch. And it takes a lot of pressure off remembering all of these terms and stuff. Now, Aunt Law, you made a good point about like, oh, my friend said she feels it more in the back of the knee when she does this way. Based on all the different positions you can stretch in, and number 2, based on how much you manipulate the knee or the hip, you will feel it at different points along the length of the muscle. So you could feel a hamstring stretch up there right by your sit bone, right in the muscle belly, like right in the middle of your thigh, or right behind the knee.
Yeah.
So all of them are stretching the hamstring. It just depends on what your preference is, what feels good, what feels effective to you and your body. So last little comment on the laying down stretch. You want your bottom leg to stay flat. And if you do want to bring it up, that's fine, actually. Bottom leg can stay flat or bent. Traditionally, it's flat because that pulls the pelvis forward a little more and stretches. It stabilizes the pelvis a little bit, but if it feels better for your back or whatever reason to bend your knee, you can do that. You just will probably have
Amber, are you talking? I don't hear you if you're talking.
I don't hear her either.
Can you hear me now?
Now I do, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for, I'm wondering if the battery's
Well, I
low.
just realized it had been about 10 seconds. I thought, wait a minute.
Yeah, let me know if that happens again.
Okay.
Can you guys see both legs?
No, actually, now that you're mentioning it, it would be a little, yeah, just a little bit. Oh, yeah. Okay. But if, just so you know, if you're talking, I don't hear you. Bonnie, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's
Okay,
something.
let me try this one. Let me know if that happens again. My battery's just dying on my microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. If not, I'll just plug it out. I'll unplug it and talk through the laptop itself. Okay. So we got bottom leg flat, top leg pulls, and you can feel it there. If for whatever reason your back or whatever reason you want to bend that other knee, you'll probably be able to pull your leg a little farther to feel a stretch, because flattening and bending the bottom leg alters the pelvis position. Okay, so like I said, just pull till you feel a stretch in the target area, and then you know you're doing it. Another perfectly good way to stretch, if we want to also manipulate the knee, is to bend the knee and then pull the leg back. And you'll notice I'm in a much different position. I can pull my hip back farther with my knee bent, and I feel it in a different area of my muscle. So here, I feel it a little closer to my knee, whereas with my knee bent, I feel it a little closer towards the middle of my muscle, moving towards my hip. So doesn't matter, you don't need to memorize that. But just for your knowledge, like, you might want to go through the replay of this and try each of these as I'm doing it, and hit pause as I'm doing it so that you can feel.
Yeah.
Another option for laying down, I'm finding a good spot in my house, is on a doorway. So laying down like that, you can do it on your bed and get a decent stretch. If you can easily get to and from the floor, one option is to find a doorway. And you're gonna sit down kind of right in the doorway, and then lay down, and then put your
Ah,
leg up on the doorway. And
wow.
this is just like actually a very relaxing position. And then if you need more of a stretch, you can get so that
Wow, yeah.
your butt is right touching the door, and then your bottom leg is flat. But even a lot of people will feel a stretch back here. And it's just nice because you know that the wall has you. With the strap, you're efforting a bit with your hands and arms, and this is just very relaxing. So that's another option. Another option is the classic just sit and reach. So we all did this in middle school. But you're just sitting and you reach forward, you'll feel it in the back of your legs. This one, again, I tend to feel more towards my knees. A lot of times I'll kind of cradle my knees and then reach forward like that. You can reach towards your toes. Or you can, let me see here. Let me move positions.
Remember when I told you I saw that woman standing, picking her toes up?
Yes,
I wonder if that's what she was trying to do, was stretch her hamstrings.
she very well could have been. Yes, that is a good position to stretch your hamstrings in. I'm wondering if, so you could like put a pillow under your knees and then bend forward like that. And that one I start to feel a little bit above my knee into the middle of my hamstring. So that feels a little more comfortable nowadays to me than with the legs completely straight. And then now if you imagine just taking this position and standing up, the exact same position is so see how that's literally the exact same position.
Yes.
So soft bend in the knees is usually a little more comfortable.
I want to try that while you're doing it.
Yeah. Just a note with this one, I am getting a lot of the mobility from my low back. So just because you can touch your toes doesn't necessarily mean you're getting an effective hamstring stretch. So
Okay.
this happens with me a lot, where I just have a lot of mobility in my low back that right now I literally don't feel a hamstring stretch. So what body part would I have to manipulate to feel
You
a
could
hamstring stretch?
pull your butt up.
Yes, I would have to do a forward tilt. Now I feel a hamstring stretch.
Ah.
Exactly. So in any of the positions that we do, laying down, foot on the wall, sitting, standing, foot on the step, you're going to do a forward tilt
Gosh,
to
I felt
feel
it.
it more. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yes, it worked. I did it.
Yay! And the last one that I can think of is, I think you can see me over there. You guys are getting a full view of my downstairs
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Is foot on a step. Again, I prefer to keep my foot flat or just relaxed. I don't necessarily need my entire foot to be flat, but that's just how I prefer it so that I know I'm not stretching the nerve, that I'm actually stretching the muscle. And then bend forward. A good way to make sure that your pelvis is rocked forward is to keep your back flat and just hinge forward till you feel it. And right there, I feel it up closer to the sit bone. I have a slight bend in the knee. Some people, it is just like comfortable and they can hang out here and they want to go closer to the ground. So that's a perfectly good option. As long as you can still breathe fully, it's not painful and you feel safe. You can also do it with a straight leg. If you don't want to bend over as far, then throw your foot up on a higher step. And now here, I'm just tilting my pelvis forward and I'm getting a stretch here and I don't have to lean forward at all. So I hope this is just giving you a lot of options and understanding of how to manipulate your body, not overwhelming you. One very last option is from a seated position. leg out, and I keep my back flat, rock forward, pelvic tilt forward, lean forward until I feel it on the back of my hamstring. So lots of options to play with. Again, go and watch the replay and try all of these, pause it and
Yeah.
try out which works best for you so that you have options. In the morning, a lot of times I just do what's called a ragdoll in yoga, where I will just drop down, grab my elbows, and just rock back and forth. I'll shake my neck out, try to just let that be super loosey-goosey. And to me, that gives me a little bit of a back stretch and a little bit of a hamstring stretch. And then at the gym, a lot of times I'll do it standing or sitting with my legs out. But depending on where I'm at, it just gives you options to be able to stretch in different ways. So
So
play
I
with
don't have stairs readily available, but I do have long legs. Could I put it up on something else and do that? Like if I put it up on a chair? I'd like that.
absolutely.
You were climbing the step with your foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. And then just play around with like, oh, if I have a straight knee, that's what it feels like. If I bend my knee a little, that's what I feel like. Oh, if I bend my knee a lot, that's what it feels like. Yeah, you can throw it up onto anything. You can throw it up on your kitchen counter if you wanted to.
Okay.
And just to circle back, stretching in the pool. Now, try these techniques and see if you can stretch more effectively in the pool.
Okay.
I haven't stretched in a pool in a very long time, but I remember there were some muscles I felt like I could effectively stretch, like I think my quads, the front of my thigh.
Mm,
I can't remember about the hip flexors. I feel like hip flexors, can't remember about hamstrings, but the buoyancy makes it hard for gravity to like ground you down.
makes
Um,
sense.
so just play with that. Cool. Super great question. I
Thank
guess,
you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
And that
I did-
will also,
Yeah.
what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I certainly didn't mean to take up so much of your time when we first brought this topic up, but I'm so glad you took the time to do it.
Yeah,
I
you're
am
welcome.
too, because that's where I have a lot of tightnesses in my hamstring.
Cool. Yay. I was also not thinking it would take that long, but I'm glad that we went through it thoroughly because it just makes it for a better understanding. So now that you know the pelvic tilting, the same is true for hip flexors, except opposite. So your hip flexors are on the front of your hips. So normally I'll have people like hold onto the kitchen counter and put their back leg back. Or you can hold on to the wall. So you're kind of like in this position. So with this one, you're going to, the hip flexor really only crosses one joint, which is it goes onto the femur and it goes onto the pelvis. So you really only have to play with the pelvis or the hip. They're kind of synonymous, but you're gonna tuck your butt to stretch it more. So you're gonna do a backwards tilt to feel it more in the front of your hip there. So you can play with that. Same if you're stretching your quad, either that's the front of your thigh here, if you're holding your foot, or if you have it on a chair behind you. Say you're holding onto a kitchen counter, you have it up on your bed or your chair behind you, tuck your butt, do that backwards pelvic tilt, and you'll feel it a little bit more in the front. Okay? All right. Let's do a couple, any last questions on stretching? Stretching joints, stretching muscles. So yeah, that same thing applies to like if you're going to stretch your elbow joint versus if you're going to stretch your tricep, it's just going to be a different position to stretch the joint versus the muscle. So it's good to keep mobility of your joints. It's good to stretch all of your muscles. So yeah, if things come up, you can always reach out to me and say, should I stretch my shoulder joint, or which muscle should I stretch? How should I even do this?
Okay.
For practicing falling, does anyone want to start with any in particular? We're going to continue with this next week and do kind of like I'm going to go through each of them, but I want to start with if you remember any of the techniques from last week that you're like, that seems interesting, I kind of want to try that on my bed, or one that you might want to try, we can go over that first.
I like to think about the tuck and roll.
The tuck and roll.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with that.
Where you go on the side, right? Try to use your arm rather than your hands.
Right.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Like what the older gentleman was doing when he was falling, that type of thing?
Yeah. Sort of like that, yeah.
I'll do a couple. There's a couple different ones. So I'm going to start from a seated position. So I would recommend getting a chair, but since my coffee table's here, this works well. And so you're just going to, I would start by putting your hands on the ground and just going as slow as you can through the whole motion and making sure that you feel safe. Okay. So you could just do it a couple times to your left side. Okay. And then for some people, doing that twice, that's a perfect start. Like, just do that and be done with it and go about your day. It can take it does take a lot of energy to work against gravity and come up off the floor. So if you feel winded and need to take breaks, don't feel crazy. It happens to everybody. Then you could try to the right side and say, okay, hands down, I'm going to go as slow as I can. And like that. So once you feel comfortable there, I would just slowly dial up the notch with speed. Yeah, question.
I have a question as well. I wasn't sure who you were talking to.
Oh, Law, yeah.
So the getting down, I'm confident I can do it. It's the getting back up. And if I was on that mattress, it would be even more challenging. I think it's actually easier for me with that thin mat that I described to you.
Okay.
I don't think I can get up off something like that.
So then you might just try in your bed to start. You might just get on all fours and just take a tumble like a billy goat over to the side and just go whee and just practice rolling that way. And then a way that you could progress is to go up to a kneeling position and then tumble. And then again, this is not researched, but I think it is true. It's not researched in this context, but visualization has been researched so much and is proven so successful that I can only believe that if you imagine your worst fear or your worst case scenario, or the last time you fell like by the washer dryer out on the grass with nobody around, like visualize a specific spot and visualize, even though I'm on my knees right now, I'm visualizing myself. You might even have to close your eyes. I'm visualizing myself standing, walking my dog. All of a sudden, I don't know what happens, but I'm I'm going down and do that. So you're kind of connecting what we're doing here to real life, because there is, I do also believe they have done research that without the visualization, just practicing this alone will cross over into that unexpected event. So regardless of whether you're visualizing or not, this is only going to help if you do go down or when you go down next. So let me see if there's any other variations. I also just like the idea of, you could do this right on your bed, is just rolling side to side and kind of get your shoulders and your spine and your hips used to rolling. And then you can also roll, I guess I would probably be long ways, and just practice rolling on the length of your spine. Just again, it's been so long since any of us did like somersaults and cartwheels, like just rolling around and playing and getting your body looser in that position could help. So then from there are other options of, so we started here from a seated position. Now, if we want to stand, we could try the technique that gentleman showed us, which his was a, what did he say? It was like twist, bend, and roll, or something like that. So or bend, twist, and roll, something like that. Basically, he's twisting his body, bending his knees, and kind of bending his whole body, and then rolling. So it's something like that. So again, for you guys, I would recommend starting this at the bed level. So it's a little hard to do on the couch here, but I can start it so you can see if I were to twist and bend and then land on your bed and rock back onto your back. That would be a really good way to start, especially if you don't feel confident in getting up from the floor. The other thing you can do is ask your physical therapist, ask your niece when she visits home for Thanksgiving, hey, can we practice this so that I feel like I have the safety of another person, that I know I'm going to be able to get up off the floor and just be able to know my limits and do this all safely. So again, just one more time, the method that gentleman showed on the video I showed last week is a twist your body, bend your body, and roll. So you're just, I think of it like a roly-poly bug. You're just kind of collapsing and twisting. I do think the twisting is very helpful as opposed to just a flat, abrupt, just straight on or straight sideways or straight back landing. So it's like that.
Well, the twisting slows you down, so you're not, it slows the momentum a little bit. I can see how that works. And it's ironic because I know we had just started the class, but when I fell in the grass that day, it's almost like that's what I did. It's so odd.
Yeah, that was already your natural instinct.
Yes.
That's super cool. Yeah, it slows it down and it gets you closer to the ground. So if you remember, you're much less likely to fracture your hip or your wrist if you fall from a chair than if you fall from a standing position.
Yeah.
But most people do fall from a standing position. Although I will say, one of the only falls I've ever witnessed in a patient, it was during our session, and he fell off a chair. So I've seen it with my own eyes. Thankfully, he was okay, no injuries. But if you want to once you get comfortable with this, again, I might start at the bed level, but you can either take a step or you can even initiate like a loss of balance forward and
Mm,
then onto the bed like that. So then again, you're just connecting it more to a fall where it's going to happen unexpectedly and you're going to be falling. You're not going to intentionally throw yourself in that position. But again, all of this, all of this will help. Um, the last one I'll do here, because kind of similar to what we've been doing. This is not a roll. This is not a twist or a roll. But it's like it's one of the techniques that we learned. So it's just another option is that you could fall onto your knees and then your hands. This could put you at risk of a wrist fracture. So this is where we bring in the forearms and landing on a bigger surface area. So I would just, you almost can like, you could either start from a seated position, that might be a really good place to start, and then just go knees and forearms. And then you can add the head twist. So knees, forearms with the head twist to protect your face and your head, your brain. So go down slow and twist your head like that. Then from there, and again, all of this is doable on your bed. I would start at the bed level. You can go fully flat. So it just, I would go real slow and something like that. So even just practicing this, I mean, even practicing it once a month, but twice a month, I hesitate to even say you need to do this once a week. I don't. But if you want to, if you're inspired by that guy and want to get increased repetitions in, then you could start making just jumping on your bed, getting some exposure to that idea. And just, it'll slowly, slowly evolve over time. Yeah.
So quick question. So much of this is, for me, is like, okay, falling forward or to the side. What if something happened unexpectedly and you were going backwards and would you do a similar thing, try to twist and turn before you hit, or so you don't, I was just trying to think, how do you go from that position rather than going forward or down?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think I would mostly try to get low
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
round my body, tuck my chin up so I don't hit my head.
Yeah.
Let's look. So the principles of fall landing: don't freeze, get low. Get low is
Yeah.
a big one.
Yeah.
Avoid straight lines. So bend as many things as you can. Spread the impact across your body. So, trying to land more like,
More of the body.
I
Right?
guess you are rolling in the sense that you're rolling onto your back instead of just sitting down hard on your butt. But it's much different if you're planning to roll onto your back than if you just if you land real hard on your butt and then you end up on your back. Most people freeze and they freak out and they just fall over rigid. So part of it is that staying loose.
That whole thing about this, you used the word early on about being fluid, and I think that in my mind I can almost feel it, even like just let it go. Like the more relaxed I am, I think the better I would be. But as you said, if you're falling, you're not going to be relaxed, so you're going to tense up anyway.
Yeah. Unless you practice and you just get, I have a patient who is just like every time I fall, I tuck and roll. That's just so ingrained in him. I don't know how. It's been in there for a long.
Great.
Um, what was I gonna say? Okay, so I take back what I said earlier about this not being proved by research. So I'm going to change what I said. I don't have a specific research article to point you to with visualizing falls. However, now I'm remembering back when I worked at Advent Health, I found a bunch of visualization research in rehab. So in the rehab setting, there is actually, I think it was one of the hospitals in Washington, D.C., one of the big hospitals had tape players or iPods or something at the time, like CD players with headphones. And they would go before the physical therapy session and say that they were working on transfers, like sit to stand. So you're sitting in a chair, we're going to stand up. They would have like a 10-minute audio of guiding that person through a guided visualization. And basically, they found that doing the visualization alongside the actual physical training did help. So I would say, even if you're laying in your bed, visualizing, okay, I'm walking my dog, I'm going along, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, it just, I can't even tell you what happened. And you visualize every single second, or I'm walking in the garage, and then I'm going as normal, just like I've done 100 times, 1,000 times, and I step up, and next thing I know, I'm flat on my face. And you can kind of visualize what you would do differently now after this training. I do believe that that will carry over to like in the real heat of the moment. I'm just going to demonstrate the backwards one, and then we'll call it a day.
Okay. Oops.
So with that one, again, go slow and get low to start. So you may want to even have some hand support in front of you to like slowly sit down, and then you just kind of gotta commit to it.
Yes.
And you're not trying to roll. I'm trying to roll all the way up to where my neck starts, like all the way up to the top of my shoulders. I wouldn't say the goal is to roll onto your head. You definitely want to keep your chin tucked, but if you're on a cushy surface like this, you probably will feel the back of your head touch. But as long as your chin is tucked, you should be safe. So again, just back like that. Trying to see if you, yeah, I don't even know if it would be helpful to like try to add a roll onto your side. I think that's a good question, just falling straight back. I think getting low would be key, staying loose, and then contracting up like a roly-poly bug.
And protecting the head.
And protecting the head, yeah, for sure. Cool beans.
Good class. Wow.
Yeah, great questions. All right. Any other questions?
Bonnie, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm thinking about this all the time now.
Well, I do think about it a whole lot more than I did before I started this, that's for
Yes.
sure.
And I don't mean in a bad way. It's like I'm going,
Yeah,
just thinking about how I can apply things.
because I just had a good friend fall in her yard and broke her pelvis, so
Oh,
she's probably 80, 79 or 80, and she's doing real good. They got her from the hospital in 3 days and surgery over. She's in rehab now. She's really excited about, I'm gonna go home. You know,
good.
she wants to get home. So, but I mean, you've fallen, Carol's fallen. I tripped and almost, well, no, I felt when I was much younger and on the sidewalk, and I didn't know nothing, you know. But this is all good to me.
Yes.
It's hard. I think one of the hardest to imagine for me even is if I was on a sidewalk
Oof,
to get loose. Like that's
because you
just
know you're gonna hit something, yeah.
counterintuitive. So it's like,
I try to think, if I'm walking, I try to stay close to one of the grassy sides.
Yes, I do the
yeah.
same thing, yeah.
I'm thinking,
So I
okay,
can
maybe
go
I'll
that
make
way.
myself fall on the grass hill.
Much better
And
landing.
you're right, just fall to the grass side.
Yeah. Yeah, because in that moment, like in that split second, yes, if you were loose and fell on the cement, it probably would only end up with abrasions, but it's still like
Scary.
it's against our human nature to like welcome cement coming closer to us. So
What about standing on the steps of the pool and just falling in? I don't
yes,
wanna do it from the edge of the pool, because I might really hurt something, but like slowly work my way up the steps.
totally. Yes.
Just to practice the backwards one, that would be great.
That would be so
At
good.
least the water's nice and soft.
That's right. And if I feel
Yeah.
like I'm gonna fall, oh, well, I'll just dive in.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I would love if you could do that this week and report back how that goes.
I will try, definitely.
Just even one time. Just
Yes.
one time. Don't again, that's why I started this off. You literally might be exhausted after 1 or 2 tries. It takes a lot of courage to do this work. Again, most of our falls have been traumatic or unwanted in some way, so they're negative. And so just be so compassionate with yourself and give yourself so much like celebration if you even try this one time because it does take courage and yeah, it can be surprisingly physically exhausting. I think it's emotionally exhausting for some people that have had some really bad circumstances or couldn't get off the floor really easily. You feel very stuck on the floor, so you just
Laying on the floor for 2 days with a broken femur we'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm never, ever gonna be in that position again. Believe me, somehow I'll figure it out.
that is just awful. It's awful.
But I'm here. That's the
But
thing.
you're here.
That's right.
And I think I've shared this with you, but that story has inspired countless individuals in Central Florida because when I first started teaching, I think I told you this at the beginning of this class, like how I got into fall prevention and why I like it. I was put in charge of the fall prevention class at Advent Health, their inpatient rehab. And I did it with a smile on my face, but inside I just hated it. And a lot of it was because the woman that went before me was very theatrical in her presentation and she would ham it up and she was a theater background and I was more quiet and more
Academic?
academic, communicative rather than like
Okay. Yes.
theatrical about it. And so once I made it my own and I did quizzes, pop quizzes, and more written questionnaires and stuff and conversations, then I started to really enjoy it. And your story was, I use that every single class.
Wow.
I've used stories of my dad. He's fallen quite a bit, and especially with the planning, like having a plan to not find yourself on the floor with no way to reach out to somebody. And yeah, so you've gotten a lot of empathy from so many of my patients
Well,
because they're
I'm thrilled to know that I could be part of an inspiration for people to do better and to not give up. I think the only room in my house that I don't feel safe in all the time is the bathroom. And I think that's pretty common for just about everybody. There's more things to hit your head on if you do go down in there and it's a smaller space. But I don't know. I feel like anywhere else in the house now, I'll be okay.
Yay, that's so awesome.
I don't think I want to echo Dot in the bathroom. It's just something about it doesn't. It's like people that have a phone in the bathroom. I don't know, it's just awkward, but if it saved your life, it'd be worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
I do take my cell phone and I set it right outside my shower door
Oh, yes.
so that, you know, at least I could get that and maybe get some help, you know.
Right,
Mhm.
but you don't sit in there talking is what I mean, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't use my phone in the bathroom, but I've done that and I'll just set it on the shelf, yeah.
Just a word about that I learned not too long ago. Bonnie, where do you set your phone? Is it on the floor? Is it on a higher surface?
It's right on the floor outside where my door opens.
Cool.
And it's a magnet, so all I have to do is push it and I can reach my phone.
Okay, yeah.
What are you
Right.
thinking, Amber?
Just to make sure that, like, if you fall, you're gonna be on the floor.
Oh,
Make sure that you're thinking about what position are you gonna be on the floor face up? Are you gonna most people would probably be on the floor face up, but then do you have a tub or do you have a shower? What, you know, where are you gonna be able to reach? So
okay.
just like,
I
you know,
have a chair in my shower that was there for my husband and I just left it there. Although I hardly ever use it, but it is something you could grab a hold of and pull yourself up, you know.
yeah. But just like that's great that you leave it on the floor. Even a foot or so off the ground would probably be fine if,
I'm just thinking, put the toilet seat down and just leave it on the toilet seat.
yeah, as
'Cause
long as,
that I could reach out.
Mine's a separate little room, so
Oh,
I couldn't do that. That's why I leave it right outside the door
yeah.
of the shower.
But your door is open, so you don't have to worry about that, yeah.
Right, right.
yeah, it all depends on your bathroom setup, but um
Well,
that's a great tip.
these classes have really made me be more aware of a lot of things and try to think safely. And um, I was walking out of the school one day. I volunteered at the school when my children were in middle school, and I caught my foot on a curb. And fortunately, my daughter was with me, and she grabbed my arm, and I didn't go down. And she said, "Mom, you've got to watch where you're walking. Look at the curb, you know." And I do that now because I could have been laying out there till somebody came along and helped me up. You know?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank y'all for being here.
Thank you. This is
Yeah,
great.
this was a good class, and I really enjoyed it. And I want to tell you to have a good weekend, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank
You too.
you. You
No
have a good
fault.
weekend too. No faults.
All
All
right.
right. I'll see you Monday.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.